1, go!
Welcome to the Set Count, your source for tournament results, storylines, and analytics set to the tune of your speakers. I'm your host, Alex Vayseth. Fuck.
Okay, did you mean to do that
actually-
part? Like, come on.
No.
Okay, so Sage was
let me
definitely
have-
trying to do the set count intro like Vayseth does, because Vayseth will not be joining us this week due to, work, whatever. But he did it, but then he introduced himself as Vayseth, which is a huge letdown.
I was like, in my head.
I don't believe you genuinely did that. Like, you're being funny, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, go on. You have to introduce me and you.
Oh, yeah. I'm joined by our co-host, Panda Global Suar.
Hi, how you doing? And yourself
Yeah.
now.
Oh, wait. Doesn't Vayseth introduces himself and then... I guess technically, yeah, I haven't
Yikes.
introduced myself. All right. I am the other host today, Sage.
Sage, where are you from?
Welcome to the show. Unrivaled tournaments / eSports arena.
There you go. Damn, we really lack these parts when one person is not here. We stumbled the intro last week when you weren't, the outro last week when you weren't here.
Dude, the outro is hard. You have to remember like a lot of things. I should probably write it down.
True. But yeah, welcome everyone. I hope that you enjoyed, Sage wasn't here last week, so it's really me because I was there. Last week's episode with Zero was received rather well. I think on SoundCloud alone, we have, broken over 2,000 listens on just that one episode, which is kind of crazy. So thank you for that. I think learning about Zero in a new light was very compelling. Poor guy cannot really survive on social media with all the flack he gets. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just in the last 7 days, our SoundCloud has hit 2,700 listens.
damn.
So you combine that with our YouTube, which I can pull up momentarily, and we'll see kind of about what the reach is when you look at something like a regular episode versus when you look at something like with Zero. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, it's pretty crazy how like top players can really influence something like that.
Yeah, and we hope to really bring on more people in Zero's kind of level. I definitely want to bring on Mr. R on the show and people like him and Tweak. I think that they offer perspectives that are very unique, and also they're really candid people, and they're really authentic and funny. I thought Zero was hilarious and also incredibly smart. I mean, talking about Bowser and Donkey Kong being top tier, I did not think that waking up in the morning.
Dude, so like obviously I wasn't on the show, and I got to, of course, like I go back and edit all these and I listen through and everything. And the part where I was like, whoa, like I was kind of like just going through it, like casually. And then we got to the part where he was talking about how close he is to picking up Bayonetta.
Yikes.
I was like, what? No way. That's nuts.
I was surprised to learn that too. The fact that he's 95. 95.
So close. That man is like one loss away.
Yeah, I mean, it could be this season, right? And that's kind of scary. A Bayonetta from the best player in the world. We're calling for timeouts. We're calling for witch time, game-ending kills. So be on the lookout. But
Can we actually call timeouts witch times? Like, can we do that now?
You mean like actually timing someone out?
No. When you're in a set and like you call for your coach, like we call them timeouts or whatever. Like that's what they're listed. Like witch time is way more applicable to our environment.
I cannot.
I'm about it.
Anyways, we have a great show planned for today. We're actually dialing back now to more behind the scenes stuff again. We're gonna feature a tweet by a very beloved community member and kind of reflecting on what they're saying as well as its implications. We're gonna also go over one of the announcements of today, of Monday, being July 31st. There was some stuff announced for Super Smash coming out we want to get into very briefly. And we're going to do the runback, which we have not done like really since last month, which is kind of sorry about that. But I think that'll cover it. So do you wanna pull a Vayseth and do the number bit for me so I can get started?
Do I have to do it in the voice?
You can do
Is
it
that like a
however.
requirement?
You can sing it. I don't care.
All right, Suar, let's go into the numbers.
It's time for the numbers.
I'm not doing the voice. I refuse to give him the satisfaction. When he's listening, he's going to hear this and he's going to be like, he's going to get all excited because he's going to think I have to do the voice. And I'm just looking so forward to just disappointment.
And not doing the voice. Okay, cool. So the numbers, we have 2 tournaments really this past week and this past weekend. Obviously not too hectic, so only 2 tournaments to talk about. We have APU Monthly, number 3 in Azusa, California. 161 people, won by Ramen, like ramen noodles, not like Ramen Mr. R. Ramen did a terrific job and took it over everybody, so congrats to him. But the main tournament everybody was watching, the Canadian Super Major, which, not to, I guess, kill any hype, but much smaller than last year for Smash 4. Much smaller indeed. A lot of cancellations. But Anti took it all with a... Did you see that kill? He took it with his Mario. He used Cloud and Zero Suit, but Anti took it over Larry Learn in Game 5 from winner's side in a reverse up B kill that he got from a grab at 15% on Fox.
Ban Bayonetta.
So, obviously, amazing stuff by Anti. We saw an Ike in top 8. We had San, which
dude.
which is
San is a
really
legend.
cool. No, yeah, San, Rio, Waldo, and Ryuga. Those are like the OG Ike mains that I was talking about on Twitter. And it was really cool to see him still kicking. Like, his movement with Ike was so precise for a character that, a lot of people just have not seen at the top level in so long.
Yeah, I mean, San played, he was a Brawl Ike player.
Oh, of course, yeah,
And then-
him and Rio, yeah.
Do you know he actually was probably the arguably best me gunner when the character still was like had access to custom moves?
No, jeez. I thought
He
the
was, like,
best
the
me
one
gunner
that-
was Fallen.
Come on, man.
Anyways.
I thought we were trying to be a little serious.
So, we saw Supergirl Kells in top 8, which was cool. She beat Fatality, which was cool in a Game 5. She also partnered with Red Bull Esports like overnight, so also cool.
Yeah, unfortunate. I don't know if it was due to her deal or whatever, but I know she's no longer with Bot as well, so unfortunate for them.
Well, actually, Bot, like, kind of with her and I believe Nightwing kind of taking up different obligations, they actually just bowed out from Smash for a little bit. Maybe without them, there wasn't like as much going on right now, and they're going to reposition. So hopefully we see them back. They were pretty cool from what I saw.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Congrats to Anti. Anytime Anti wins, Smash economy up. So we're good. But for what was announced today on Monday, now transitioning out of the numbers, did you get a chance to look on Twitter and look at what SmashCon announced?
So I looked briefly. I was at work all day, so I didn't really get too much of a glance, but I did see the Smashies announced with a bunch of voting things available, which, by the way, the Smashies, I already told you this over the phone, and I told you this when we got on this call, but I hate so much the name The Smashies.
I love it.
No,
I love it.
you're wrong.
So Smashies, for anyone that doesn't know, it should be Thursday or Friday by now, so you've probably seen. The Smashies is Super Smash Con's kind of like year in review, tied into an award show, kind of like the Grammys, the Oscars, the Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards, what have you. And it's kind of cool. First of all, it's the first of its kind, right? We've never had something like this, and they're going all out. I'll be there. Sage might be there. And we're going with some superlatives, some community recognition. On the website itself, we have some categories like best doubles team and this is across all games.
Yeah,
so we're gonna see.
we should
64.
go through. Let's go through the categories super fast.
Yeah. So
So
go on. Read the
all
first
right,
row.
I got this. So you have best doubles team for Smash 64, most improved for Smash 64, best combo for Smash 64, best comeback Smash 64.
And you have the same exact for Melee. So you're going to be seeing doubles teams, like some of the craziest combos this year. And they have the same thing for Wii U, those 4 categories. Then they also have things like best commentary moment, best pop-off, and saltiest moment / best taunt. I think it's pretty cool that this focuses more on like most improved versus best, because best player for each of these games are going to be like Zero Armada and like whoever's killing it right
Right,
now in
like
64.
voting for a best player is not
Fun.
fun. I think I think it would be cool to expand the categories a little bit. Like right now, like I like the best pop off. I like the saltiest moment. Like the four that are there are cool, but I feel like it needs like 2 or 3 more categories of like generalized things, right?
Yeah, and with this being their first time, like maybe they didn't want to bite too much because if they're doing 3 games, all these awards, I mean, just on this page, there's what 12, 13, there's 15 awards. So that's 15 acceptances. We're not gonna know if like everyone's gonna show up. So I think they're trying to like not do too much, you know?
I just want to see if somebody like go. So I assume this is gonna be very like Emmy based, where whoever wins is gonna go up and accept the award,
Yeah.
and which also they have to make sure that people don't have pools going on for this, right?
This is
Like,
at the end of Saturday, so there are no tournaments being played.
okay, so I'm waiting for the moment where like someone goes up there, starts talking, and then the music has to get cued on to kick them off the stage. Then it really will be the Emmys.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be told right before they go up, like you got a minute.
I
And
mean,
then
it happens on TV too, and they don't care. Sometimes they're just like, we're rolling through this.
yeah, maybe if it's like really emotional and like, you know, they're pulling on everybody's heartstrings, we'll let it go. But I think for the most part, it'll be a first time for everybody. So it's trying to like work with as little as possible. But we do have Coney as the host, which I do not know a better fit than Coney.
No, he is absolutely like
Like
would be
I
my
can hear,
one-
I can imagine like Mario Odyssey soundtrack behind him as he's introducing the award. Like, did you hear the Mario Odyssey soundtrack? Like, it's so good. Like the jazz.
It's incredible. Oh my god,
I
it's
could
so
hear
good.
Coney in a top hat coming out, like with the hat, like totally, like just jamming out and celebrating the year. So the Smashies looks at like last Smash Con to this Smash Con, so it's like mid-year to mid-year. So everything that's happened in the past year since the last Smash Con will be considered for like all these sort of categories. So it should be cool.
I'd like to see some more stuff like Hypest Set. I think is a really obvious one that I'm surprised we don't see across every game.
I think best commentary moment encapsulates a little
I don't
bit
think
of
so.
that.
No, because like a best commentary moment could happen in pools.
Actually,
And it could
best
just be-
commentary moment is stuff like when they threw the tide and it landed on Coney's head. and
Right,
he
like
looked
that's not even
Ryu.
tournament related. I'm really surprised that we don't see a Hypest Set.
Well, best comeback is kind of that, you know? Like, why
Well,
would
no,
a best
I don't
comeback
think-
not be a hypest set? Or you mean like the whole time it's crazy, like a 0 or 9 Genesis sort of thing?
Yeah, like a Zero Renai Genesis or like a Sub-Zero at Frostbite. Like that wasn't a comeback set.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't. Kind of, but
It's
not
just
really.
like Renai Zero could be very back and forth set, or like Sub-Zero was very back and forth.
Yeah.
Best comeback to me implies like a reverse 3-0, right?
Yeah.
Oh, down 2 and like, or maybe he's down like 3 stocks or something in Melee and he pulls a crazy comeback. Like that's a comeback. That doesn't even necessarily have to be a set win. Like it's just a crazy, a crazy one moment thing. Whereas I feel like a set encapsulates more. So I'm surprised that that's not a category. I'm surprised that we don't have any more voting for like a people's champion type thing.
So I was talking to them a little bit about it because they were consulting me about some stuff. I was like talking with SmashCon about just different ideas. And they wanted to avoid, I suggested to them like community impact awards, stuff that like there is no voting. You just kind of like award somebody, like, hey man, thanks for being an awesome TO. Hey man, thanks for whatever. Hey girl, thanks for, being whatever. But we quickly realized that there's just so much grassroots and volunteerism and everything that if you start to award people, you're going to hurt feelings if you don't recognize everybody. So I think that's why they're going so general and so kind of like, not shallow, but not as deep as like one would hope in like a fully fledged award show, So
yeah, I don't know. I would love to see a lifetime achievement award type thing.
and that's
where-
hard, like who
I
hasn't
just-
achieved stuff, like at that point.
Yeah, but like it's the same in the Emmys and the Grammys or wherever they do that.
But we don't have
whatever
that
award.
sort of like, we don't have too many people doing that. Like, what's to say that Nairo hasn't achieved the same as Zero, in
I
a
don't think-
different
I think-
aspect?
I'm not saying they haven't, but I'm saying there's nothing wrong with selecting like one person this year, and then everybody should just like. I don't think it's not like a who's better competition. It's just like appreciate what this person has done. Like, you find someone who's been in the scene like 8-9 years, who's been grinding, not even necessarily as a player, but like as a community leader of some sort. Like, I don't think Nairo would ever get a like community achievement award type thing. Like, he's a great player and he's a great streamer, but he hasn't like put himself out there and like TO'd events and like sacrificed a whole lot for the growth of the scene.
Well, maybe not in those explicit terms, but there's definitely, and then it turns into this conversation, and you also think of optics. Like, people are going to take it as like popularity contests, and it just could get really hairy really quick. So I kind of understand why they didn't. I think they should, like you're saying, but it's their first run. So I guess, who knows how these awards are going to be received, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll
but
see.
I definitely would like to see it. Like, especially, you don't do it in a way that players vote or like a bunch of people vote. You kind of just do it like who's been in the scene forever and who has made a substantial impact in like making Smash grow.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But again, that could get really subjective if like your role in the community started this year or it started 5 years ago.
Yeah, don't award the guy that this year. Like, if this is truly supposed to be like, all right, so like in my mind, the goal of this is to do this yearly, right?
Yeah.
To do this as an award thing every year that people want to watch, and it's really awesome. And in my mind, right now, it's not set up to be this great yearly thing. And like, that Lifetime Achievement Award is something that could be really cool yearly. Because like, you spotlight one guy who's done, or one girl who's done a lot of really great things for the community over the past 5, 6, 7 years. Like, there's no way if they approached me and were like, hey, we're going to give you a Lifetime Achievement Award, I'd be like, no, you're not. I've been in the scene for like 2 years. Like, come back, see me in like 6 more.
But people might argue you. I mean, like, you've definitely changed the stream game.
saying,
like, it gets complicated, like there's lifetime achievement, but there's also like community impact and like,
Yeah, but like, I'm not saying community impact. I'm saying lifetime achievement. I'm saying like the guy who's been here since like 2003 Melee, or has been here since like 2008 Brawl. Like, those dudes who are super OG, we should honor. And like, because it's not like
you know what? They actually might, because technically they don't have to have that part of the voting block. So there's chances for some surprises. I imagine, like every award show. So we should wait and see.
Yeah. I assume there will be some surprises. So that's like what I'm not saying like it's weird that it's not listed. I'm just saying I hope they see it.
All right, cool.
Or I hope that's something that they want to do.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, who knows what developments they'll have. It is next weekend, so we'll know pretty soon, especially if you're there. But
so get out and vote.
Yeah, get the vote out, rock the vote. Don't let 2018 happen again, or what, 2016? Oh Jesus, 2017. God. Anyways, so getting into today's topic, we're like almost 20 minutes in, but whatever, we live. It'll be a shorter episode. I wanted
20 minutes to talk about this.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up a tweet. It's by 1st General 3rd Battalion Squadron Leader of the Naifu Nation, Paradin. She made a tweet almost 2 weeks ago, and it kind of reads like this. So it says, unpopular opinion. So you know it's going to be good. Unpopular opinion. I feel pop bonuses are a very myopic way. Okay, that's SAT right there. Myopic way to grow a scene, and people tunnel vision it too much. So first impressions, right? We got pop bonuses as a subject being talked about as a myopic way to grow a scene. Myopic meaning like harebrained, very short-sighted, dim-witted, right? You think the earth is flat, right? Make America great again, shit like that. So myopic. How do you feel about that, just as like a taste test? How does that sound to you, Sage?
I mean, I've always agreed that just raw pop bonus, like if you just throw $40,000 at a crappy tournament, your tournament is still crappy. It doesn't change anything. It's just a more expensive.
It's just a more expensive. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, all right, you can't polish a turd, right? It's still gonna be a turd. So
right, exactly. I mean,
so a couple things, right? And kind of like breaking this down and unpacking, right? So we're gonna talk about the purposes of pop bonuses as we know them, and then also like the prestige associated with them, and then finally kind of like how they don't really apply to 90% of the tournament goers. So first off, like the purpose of the pop bonus, right? Off the bat, like anytime you see a pop bonus to a tournament stage, like what do you think? What is it for? Who is the pop bonus for?
Oh, there's two reasons that you put out a pop bonus in my mind ever. First one being obviously you want top players to attract to your tournament, right? Like you want the top player to go home and be like, "Wow, I got paid so much." Whereas like Evo, we were sitting there and we were laughing because we're like, "Wow, they got paid like less than a local for getting fifth."
Literally fifth at Evo. Like you win MSM and you get more money than getting
Yeah.
fifth at the most prestigious tournament, perceivably, of the year so far.
Yeah, so that was like right. So you immediately want to avoid that PR and want to get the good PR of like, oh my god, pop bonus! Look at we're really paying our players. We made it, guys.
Like ESL giving Punk like $113,000. Like Jesus God. Like the Street Fighter thing, like that was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was an invitational, different story, but still a lot of money, pop bonus.
Which if you haven't watched E-League, it was so good, and everyone should watch E-League. It's incredible.
Yeah, great stuff. Hope to see Smash integrated. Anyways, go on.
So there's that, right? And then it's literally just like you put out a pop bonus and you get instant media attention, right? Like $40,000 pop bonus for UGC when it came out, or like all these different crazy pop bonuses. Is like
Game Tire and Expo. It's like 100,000 between like 10 games. Like Jesus.
Yeah, people are gonna retweet that. And they're like, what?
And what kind of sucks too is like pop bonuses get attention regardless, because the thing is that people put a pop bonus, and if it's like not a lot, it's like $500 pop bonus. Like people even make fun of that, even though $500 is money, right? Who doesn't want $500? But to truly make an impact, you need to get into the double-digit grands. You know,
you need 5 numbers.
Yeah,
minimum for people to care about your pop bonus.
Yeah, you really need the 10,000 to 20 to 30, and that's not easy to come by. So
there's 2 ways to look at it, and like whether or not you think it's good or bad. Like the good side is, all right, so here's this tournament, it's going on. They could spend $10,000 on marketing to try and pull so many people, or they can put up a $10,000 pop bonus. A bunch of top players will register. And then Smash GG will tweet out that they're going. You can tweet out that they're going. And a bunch of their gym followers will be like, wow, I want to go too. It's like, cool, right? So essentially, you're trying to lock down 2 markets of like your PR department, and that players are going to be like, damn, we got paid. This tournament was awesome. Because players will say anything about a tournament when their bank account is like flooded.
Yeah. And I really think
it's hard to hate. It's hard to hate when when you just like cashed a check for 10 grand.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really interesting sort of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like instead of 10,000 in marketing, which arguably would be good too, you have 10,000 to like having the top players then like kind of register and like garner attention in the tournament, and that's kind of like the whole point. It's to attract top players. It's like the bait. It's the blood in the water in the ocean for all the sharks. It's what gets them, right? And it's really done so that they register early, and you know the potential to sort of meet these players is there if you were to go yourself. But that's kind of it, right? So
yeah,
if you're
there's that good, like that's the supposed like mindset when you throw $30,000 at something, right? Like everybody's gonna come and we're gonna get so many entrants, which in my mind has been proven entirely wrong. UGC, $40,000 pop bonus, 250 people, something, right?
Damn, like, Midwest Mayhem numbers, man.
Like way low.
No offense to Midwest Mayhem. It's just, for perspective. Yeah. Midwest Mayhem does not have a pop bonus, or has not classically. I think they might have every now and then, but nothing like...
Yeah, they have sometimes.
Yeah, but nothing on the scale of like a median salary for like,
yeah, so...
a car salesman or something.
Instantly, that theory is proven wrong, right? Where top players going to an event does not equal great marketing.
Yeah,
because
it's just a top player going to an event. That is how many top players in the world? There's like a handful, like 50 plus whatever is a current threat, right?
Yeah, so it equals some marketing, right? But here's the other counter side of like people are like, oh, well, if top players don't go, no one's gonna watch your stream. It's like no one will watch your stream regardless. Like if top players are there, look at Greninja Saga, like Greninja Saga, Nairo Saga, all these sagas are at like 20,000 viewers, right?
Less, more like
Well,
12 or
that
15.
Greninja Saga hit like 12,000.
Yeah.
Greninja Saga was like an A tier, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so like obviously top players don't instantly equate to views.
Well, so here's kind of like how this sort of asphyxiation on top players and getting them to come to tournaments has kind of built out itself in the Smash tournament organizing meta. So you put a pop bonus to attract top players, and top players attending your tournament means that you can tweet out or make the banner for the tournament featuring Zero, MKLeo, Nairo, DeBuzz, Larry Lur, right? That's what you get to say. And if you aren't able to say that in today's tournament meta, on a weekend where there is literally a tournament every day, then that's going to hurt. So
Oh yeah, I mean you definitely need some good players, right? But I'm just saying like you can't just throw a pop bonus at a tournament and expect, "Oh, we threw $50,000 at it. Cool, we're going to get 800 players and we're going to get, probably like 40,000 viewers because the pop bonus is so high."
and that's really where Paradin's tweet really shines. It's a myopic way. Like it's a very short-sighted, like self-serving sort of thing, like where that's not going to grow the scene. Like
But
that's going to
it's proven to not even grow tournaments though.
Yeah, no, it's proven to not even grow tournaments. But again, we're focused on like the here and the now. Like we're there's so much that the player has a power in right now, the top player in Smash, where like if they go to a tournament, like if you're literally like dead ass, if you're top 20 PGR, like not having a sponsor is like not even an issue many times because so many tournaments want to fly you out. I'm talking from the top at 2GGC. Like I think Sam Suar has been to almost every saga, and the kid lives in Louisiana and does not have a sponsor. Like Sam Sora and Captain Zach before Phoenix One were flown out to every 2GGC just for being in the high 20s, right? Captain Zach being 20, Sam Sora being like, I don't know, like mid 20 last season. Tournaments want you, right? And tournaments will do anything to get you there. They'll fly you, they'll house you.
That's the other thing. Yeah, it's like players are getting flown out on top of these 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, whatever huge number you want to throw out pop bonus. It's like, so what are you trying to attract then? More top players?
Yeah, it's all sort of like, I don't know. It's just so funny in a way. Like when you start to look at it, I don't know how you can turn to someone and be like, "Hey Jeff, this is a good idea, right? Yeah, let's do it." Like it just seems like you try to get this grandiose sort of effect, but you're like really, really shafting yourself the entire way. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but yeah, Greninja Saga for perspective was an A tier, had like 12,000-ish views. Frostbite was also an A tier, and it had like 36,000. Did you guys have a pop bonus?
No pop bonus for
no
Frostbite.
pop bonus. You did have a lot of like, getting the Japanese and doing the this and doing the that. But we'll talk about the Frostbite model in a second. But they didn't have a pop bonus. I think Greninja Saga had at least 5,000. So 5,000 at least was sent to Greninja Saga to have a stream that pretty much anyone in League of Legends can get for like turning on at like midnight to like grab a midnight snack. 12,000 viewers watching immediately. Like it was not that high, right? So the other component to this whole thing, like the second point, is like the prestige that tournaments try to buy. So I guess I'm kind of guilty for all of this in the first place a little bit, but when we made the tournament tier system for the PGR, its purpose was really so that you could be like, hey, this tournament is hard because it's an S tier, and here are the numbers to prove it, right? You have this many top players, this much money on the line, and this win matters at this more because of XYZ. The first iteration last season had a component for money, except it was very, 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 very low. Like every $2,500, you got $1. So we basically nerfed it. When on the contrary, every PGR player was like 2/3 a point. One person was 2/3 a point. $2,500 was 1 point. So kind of see the difference. And that was because.
Do you think that tournaments were really trying to up their pop bonuses in order to like lock a higher tournament ranking?
Yes and no. Mostly no. But there were instances where tournaments would DM me and be like, "Hey, how far are we from from a certain tier, right? If they were C trying to get to B, B to A, etc. And they would say like, how much money do we need? Like, we got everybody that we can to register, but how much do we need for a pop bonus? And I'd be like, yeah, you kind of need like $2,000. And they'd be like, yeah, we can't do that. And I'd be like, sorry. And that was really because we didn't want that to be the meta. You know, we didn't want someone being like, all right, well, our 100-man local didn't really hit the numbers we wanted, so here's $500. Here's an S tier event. You know, like we didn't want that to be a factor. So this season, we didn't even have money be a factor. In fact, the tournament tier system this season is kind of cool. It functions in two ways. You have on one side raw entrance and pop bonus, and on the other side, just PGR players. Depending on which side has more scores, we take that higher score. And hilariously enough, Gomel was a B tier event with the people it had originally signed on to go, like Nairo, Zenodo, I think Mr. R. Then they all dropped. It actually pushed the tournament into C tier, but then the other side of it with the raw entrance pushed it up to B tier again because there was something like 400 people almost. So very flexible. But again, like we don't even have money being the main focus this season. And one of the notable examples last season where I kind of saw like a tournament really seize the whole we get to say we're an S tier thing. Apart from Genesis, but they didn't have a pop bonus, was Nairo Saga. I remember seeing Champ, or I guess 2GG, run by Champ, the Twitter, announced that Nairo Saga was an S tier before many people had confirmed, before registrations were done. And they had, I guess, done the math with the PGR players that they had gotten to go, but they also had like $10,000-$15,000 pop bonus. Like, I don't remember. Something ridiculous, right? So that is definitely power. You know, it's a big deal to say that you run an S tier tournament, you run an A tier tournament, you have
it's definitely prestige. The other good thing that pop bonuses carry, and like I don't want to be like super against them. Obviously, they're great, right? Like the more money here's the big thing: the more money you can put into players' pockets, the more chance that you get for these players to do this for a living.
Yeah, and then that kind of ties into what Zero was talking about last week, where tournament winning should not be your main income as a top player. It should be extra. However, we're in a situation where it's many, many people's main income, or at least partly. And that's not sustainable to sort of feed that system. You know what I mean? It should be sponsorship deals and all this other stuff, things that we're starting to finally get. But pop bonuses is kind of like causing like a weird addiction problem. It's kind of like an opioid epidemic sort of thing where like they need to happen now because top players won't come because they need to make money. So if we want to be a tournament that like has good, great people and a great idea, it will not work unless we get top players and lure them by the pop bonus, right?
Yeah. So it's unfortunate because like, yeah, it's this weird like loop. The thing that people need to like realize and break away from is like this pop bonus money, unless someone gave it to you and was like, this is for a pot bonus, you're not allowed to use it in any other way, which can happen. That money can be applied in so many different ways.
So let's going into the third point now, right? So we talked about the purposes of it, attracting top players, the prestige it tries to buy, or the prestige it's associated with. And we didn't really talk about it, but optics, right? Like how it looks to say you have a pop bonus is a big deal, right? Grain Tyrant Expo, UGC, they got to say that they had that money, and that was a big deal for optics. But the third point is pop bonuses don't apply to 90% of the tournament goers, and that money could be put to so many different things. Like you can just go off it yourself, but from what your experiences have been so far, like what are some of the things that pop bonuses can go to, Sage?
Oh my God. Do you want to make this episode 4 hours?
Okay, so let's say a tournament. What do things
brief.
cost for production, and how could a pop bonus kind of gone for that? Because people have misconceptions about production. They're like, oh, just $200 more and you can get a new camera, right?
So like, $200. Add on a 0 or 2, and then you have a new camera.
Nice.
But so like, yeah, $2,000 is like the minimum for like a prosumer level camera. You want a broadcast camera, you're looking at anywhere from like $20,000 to $70,000.
$20,000 to $70,000 for a broadcaster camera.
That's like low end probably too. I mean, there's cameras that you can buy for like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and it's insane. But beside the point. So like,
yeah, we're not trying to buy a railgun here. We're not trying to buy a railgun.
Just as a baseline, like pop bonuses, like for me, it's a slap in the face, and like I'm trying to do this for a job, like production, right? It is my job. It's literally my job now, especially with ESA. Like my full-time salary comes from production, so I could do no more Smash events ever, and I'd be fine. But I love the community and I love Smash events, so like I'm gonna want to keep doing them to help stuff grow. But like if I go to an event and they're like, "Yeah, we have a $50,000 pot bonus. We'll pay you 500 for the weekend." Like that's a slap in the face, hands down. It's like, dude, you put all this money forward before you presented even like a case to your crew. Like if you're paying your crew in like McDonald's Happy Meals and
Let's go.
some coupons to Chipotle,
Let's go.
and you have 40,000.
I would take that, honestly. Shill.
All right, maybe not Chipotle.
Shilling.
But if you're like I think your crew and your staff is 100% should be a huge focus for your event before you ever put money towards flights or a pot bonus or whatever. And it's like if your crew is paid well and stuff, they're gonna want to do so much work to like push forward in that. If I go to an event and they pay me $500, which is like I'm not gonna like officially put out my asking rate, but it's under it. I'll tell you that it's under my normal rate. Like I'm not gonna care that much, just personally. Like unless like I agreed to it because I really believed in like the tournament itself, or I really like the people running it or something. Like if it was just a job, like I'm just gonna do the bare minimum of work that makes things look good, and like, and I that's not me being like a bad person. That's work. Like that's how things go.
Now, Sage, the thing is that $500 for a single day or the weekend in the Smash community is quite a bit of money. But
I'm saying for a full crew of production, $500 for 3-day event. So let's say you're getting
But I meant like, but now we're looking at Smash where like money and production is always at odd ends because people don't understand it. So yeah, that's even then very low, right?
So yeah, $500 is really low in anything in Smash. Like that's barely a player's flight. And what is infuriating to a lot of people that work in Smash, and not just me, like a lot of people who are just doing this, like they're putting in hours and hours and they're crazy on top of like full-time jobs, crazy time at night, on weekends, whatever, just to help these tournaments run. It's like, and these tournaments are willing to offer them the amount of like somebody's flight. Like all this player had to do was just be good and be like, yeah, I'll go. And they literally got $500 to go, which just went to their flight.
And I think the easiest way we could see this is having a, X amount $1,000 pot bonus tournament, and you got your commentators commentating for free. Not to say that happens like at 2GG or anything, because they definitely take care of their commentators, but there are events that have that be the case. And like that is the slap in the face. Like you're a little easier to see, but you're also usually taken care of because there's no way you can volunteer what you do. But commentators often get the shortest end of the stick in almost every situation. I mean,
I think TOs get super boned.
Yeah.
I know a lot of TOs that are doing events for like $200-300, like 3-day events, $200-300.
Backbreaking work, soul crushing. Anything goes wrong, your fault. You get no credit, and at the end of the day, you get no thanks.
That's like 60 hours of work just at an event, right?
And that's not even taking into account the pre and the post, right? All the marketing and all the fires you got to put out, the registration that has to be done last minute. Like, yeah, I mean that's pretty sad.
Yeah, so it's awful. Like, all right, so like let's say you paid a TO like 300. You're like, yeah, that's a fair rate, right? You divide that by 60 hours of work, they're making $5 an hour.
Let's go.
That's awful.
That's like breaking a law, I think.
And on top of that, they have to do all this work leading up to the event with seating and things, and it's just like it's miserable that they have to look at this tournament that they want to help run with $40,000, and they made $200 on the side, and then they probably had to pay for their own food, and maybe they drove up or paid for their own flight. So like half the time, these people are taking negatives.
Damn, capitalism is violence.
So like, why would I? Like straight up, like I wouldn't want to do that. If I was a TO and I got paid $200, they were like $200-300 with the $40,000 pot bonus, I'd tell them no. I'd be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to work for $4 an hour.
We're all crazy here. Smash community, obviously, a lot that it doesn't want to face. in terms of economics, because I mean we're just getting into it for many of us. But
Yeah,
it's true.
So people want to say that the Smash has made it, and that
it has
we
not.
did it. We have these huge pot bonuses. These
We're on
tournaments are
Disney.
monstrous.
We're on Disney.
Yeah, we're on Disney, whatever, and it's like cool. Like all these players can get paid and get this recognition, but in the end, everybody's doing this for volunteer right now. Not a single person can really say that this is their living.
Yeah, and that, so taking that point and really stretching it, the whole idea that pot bonuses do not apply to 90% of the tournament goers. So let's just play a very simple scenario. Let's say we have a 100-person tournament, okay? Let's say we have a 100-person A tier event or S tier event, and for whatever reason, marketing, it came out to 100 people even. And let's assume they paid out to top 16, which they would not because it's only 100 people. So they would probably do like just top 8 max. 16 out of 100 people is 16%. Okay, that's generous. Okay, because why would they pay out to top 16 for a 100-person event? The pot bonus went to 16% of your tournament attendees. That was it. That's the only lives that were changed by it. Literally, right? Them getting that extra money. How does that play out to increasing your tournament base, right? Locally, regionally, nationally, when 16% of your funds just benefited, or sorry, your funds only benefited 16% of the people that attended the tournament. That's not good, right? That's not any conversion. And if we look at the models of Shine with a lot of side events, Frostbite with a lot of side events and things to do, and Super Smash Con, which takes the con model, makes it 4 days, and now anybody can go. They remove all these barriers. It's not just a competition. It's a con. You can go. You can dress up. You can listen to music. You can meet and greet. Now, what do all these tournaments have in common? They don't have a pop bonus. Instead of that money that they have for pop bonuses, they put into panels, into production, into more venues, into 24-hour venues, into all this stuff. So if you think about it, like, pop bonuses are like, by definition, the least efficient way to not only grow your tournament stream, which we've already proven it does not, but also to grow your tournament base, which it also definitely does not. Do you think people are all going to UGC next year? Like, are they talking about, like, no one's even heard of UGC this year? They've been quiet because they're probably reeling from last year, right?
My biggest thing that I think is the instant, like, obvious thing that you can do with a pop bonus that will benefit every tournament goer easily: buy more setups.
Exactly. Like, too often, and many of the big tournaments have gotten this down, right? They talk to gaming generations, they get more setups, cool. But for ones that haven't, like, when they're depending on people bringing setups and stuff, like, dude, you have a pop bonus. Like, you could have gotten more setups. And
even if, so, like, let's say your gaming gen order is filled, whatever. Let's say there's like 60 setups coming from gaming gen. Great. Let's say now you have a sponsor come in that's like, here's $20,000. You're like, all right, sure, throw 10 of that into a pop bonus, assuming everything else is set and taken care of.
You got your commentators paid, your TOs paid, everyone's eating well. Yeah, assuming all that.
Assuming all that, right? Because that should be your priority. And like, if you're an event runner and you just drive your staff to like endless work and you don't feed them and stuff, like, no one's going to want to work with you again. And so assuming everyone's good, buy more setups. Like, who cares? Your gaming gen order's done. And now advertise. Like, with $5,000, how many Wii U's could you probably get with that? What are they, like $200 right now?
I have no idea.
If that, you could probably find a bunch of people selling them. I know I see people selling them like once a week on Facebook. So like, you mean like
actually having a reserve?
Yeah. So like, regardless of ordering it from gaming gen, if you buy out $5,000 worth of Wii U's, that's $5,000 that you literally just put into every tournament you run, not just the one you're at now.
Wow, that's genius. I hadn't thought about that.
So many people are like investing these pop bonuses are one-time, one-off models of just, hey, this tournament was great.
How far does the dollar actually go? Is the question.
We threw $30,000 at this tournament, and it like, that's just $30,000 we'll never get to reuse. What if instead you buy $5,000 worth of systems? You buy $1,000 worth of like PA systems and like TVs to put up brackets on. You buy a couple, like $1,000 worth of signage. So like Frostbite had these really cool things where they were like these triangles.
Oh, the flippy like friendly setup / tournament, and the rules were on them.
Yeah. So there would
And
they
that
have
does
this
not
thing where you
cost
could-
$5,000. That's like a trip to Office Max and some arts and crafts.
Right, but like still, like there's so many things that you could be putting this money towards that is every tournament can be used that people just want to throw into a pot bonus because they don't know what else to do with it. And it's like there's so much better options out there.
$5,000 towards showers and deodorant. Like that could change it all.
Just bring like some Febreze with you. I think Bear did that, right? At Evo, he's, like, spraying people.
$5,000 of those like automatic Febreze things that like you're walking around and all of a sudden you hear like those things. Yeah, like
I'd love it if they're all on the same timer and it's just in the middle of it, like
you just
tournament,
gas
hear
everybody like mid tournament. So Sage is right, and I hope that TOs are listening, or at least someone's listening that can talk to a TO, because this is not like high level. I guess it is high level economic, and not really. Okay, this is not like global economy, but think about the fact that throwing money at a tournament to fill top players' wallets is cool for a day or two, for a month, for a year, but like we're looking at tournaments that continually do not have high numbers. Like some of the biggest tournaments this year like don't have the numbers they had hoped for, because what are they doing for the commoner? What are they doing for the gym, for the casual, for the O tour, the one tour? And
The
right
most obvious is Evo. Evo
Yeah.
had no pot bonus and the highest entrant count this year.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
really because Evo's
whoa.
the experience, right? Like Evo's like the thing. But SmashCon, you know how many Wii U? 1501. That is a big deal. Not only
Basically
because
Evo.
Yeah, I mean not only because it's like 50 away from Evo, I believe. And if we be honest, like I bet a lot of people like got DQ'd at Evo, but whatever.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But what does SmashCon have? It has so much. It starts on Thursday. Like, they don't have a pop bonus, and all these numbers are high. Melee is at 1048. Like, this is incredible. Like, it's not something that comes out of anything else than great models. And Shine showed that this year as well. They're also an S tier, also going to be in the month of August. We don't know their numbers yet. But I bet if they're an S tier already, that's going to be good for them. And why? They involved so much into setups. I remember when I went last year to Shine, there were there's so many setups when the game intro is playing on a bunch of screens. That's when you know you have too many setups. When people aren't at them and the game intros are playing. And there were many game intros being played on multiple setups because everybody was hanging out, we were playing. You have doubles, you have 8-player Smash. Like,
That's the
that
best,
is
though.
huge.
When players can go and just like fiend forever, like they're gonna come away and be like, that event was awesome. I played with some dude from Florida for like 6 hours and it was 4 a.m.
No, that
It was
is
crazy.
those are stories that carry weight. Those are stories that get more registrants for next year. Those are stories that drive more and more people, the conversion rate that we're talking about. And it didn't even involve a pop bonus. It did. I remember when I was talking to She last year, the person who runs Big Blue Esports with his co-founder, and he's one of the obviously driving forces for Shine. We were putting away chairs, and I was like, "Yo, She, you got the 24-hour venue, you got the setups, you got the freaking, you're on the Boston Seaport. Well, what about a pop bonus, dude?" And he told me this exact thing. He's like, anytime we had a pop bonus or money left over to use for a pop bonus, we had a new idea. Let's make a giveaway for Twitch, right? For people on the channel watching to be able to be entered into a raffle. That is engaging an audience that isn't even at the tournament. That is genius. He would say, let's get more chairs. Let's get more floor splits. Let's get more vendors, right? Anytime they had money left over, there was something else they could add. Because it's true. You never have too much at a tournament. At least
Right.
I haven't seen that so far.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
you can go overboard, but still.
That's definitely, I think that's the way to build a scene, not just build a tournament. So,
Exactly. And that, again, circles back to Paradin's tweet. It's not how you grow a scene. And people tunnel vision it. Like she said, it's like, oh my God, the money, the pop bonus. But like at the end of the day, when we walk away from UGC, what stability did that build in St. Louis? What stability did that build for anybody in the Midwest scene? Like,
to be fair, UGC was a super dope event. And they
sure,
probably...
sure. And that's cool. But they also didn't know the scene itself, right? It was their new foray. They were trying their best way. And what's the best way to enter a scene? Have money, right? So
Right.
it's tough.
For
but
sure.
That pretty much
Yeah,
covers
like
it.
had that got announced without the pot bonus, like how many top players would have gone?
Exactly. And you can say all the free setups in the world and stuff, but they weren't known. So it's a little tough. So it is hard
It
for
is
first
tough.
time events. And
Pot
like,
bonuses are a good way for an event to be like instantly noticed because people.
yeah,
will
it's
go.
just a little bit, overboard sometimes. And that's really what we're trying to address. So that pretty much covers it. Paradin, great insight nugget. She's given so much to the community. So it's pretty cool to see her tweet that. Anything else on that before we jump into the run back?
I think I'm good. Let's get into the run back.
All right.
Run back.
Boom. All right. So do you want to ask your joke question? Because you got this joke question. Do you want to go into something else?
Oh my god, this question like killed me when I saw it. I don't know why I laughed so hard. But from Carrie Collins, who is Mary Jo 4422 at yahoo.com.
Mary Jo.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Just the way it's written and everything, it has nothing to do with us, hands down.
Uh-oh.
Hi. I will like to know if you do DJ service and do you accept credit cards? Carrie Collins. No, Carrie Collins. Next question.
I'm actually I know how to DJ and I have software for it, so that's really funny. I wonder if we're like
Does she know? Does Carrie Collins know?
I don't
Suar.
know. I don't think Carrie Collins is I think probably looking at a flyer and got the email wrong.
I just wonder who has an email even close to ours.
I don't know, like the set, the set could be like a DJ outfit or something. I
And then
don't
she
know.
just added count.
I don't know, like
Because like it's not like we have numbers or like a space or an underscore or anything. Like it's just the set count. Like does somebody have the set count 1 and is trying to be a DJ?
So if you're DJ set count and this was for you,
Oh, maybe it is just set count, right?
yeah,
That's possible.
yeah. Sorry, DJ set count. If Mary Jo Collins or whatever, Carrie Collins, Joyce, Barbara.
The other weird thing is that she asked if we do DJ.
If we do the DJing,
If we... So it's not like she even had a confirmation. Like if she picked up a flyer for a DJ, wouldn't she email and be like, "Hi, I'd like to inquire about your DJ services," not, "Hey, are you a DJ with your DJ flyer?"
To be honest, you should answer and be like, "This is my PayPal. This is this is what I need to be on retainer for the weekend. Let's talk money." Okay, so going into actual real questions and not fake questions, fake news.
That was a
whatever.
real question.
I got a
don't
question. Stop. I got a question that I'll read because it's being asked to you, and then you'll read the one that's to me since it's being asked to me. So this one is from May 18th. So sorry, Andy. But Jesus. So hi, my name's Andrew or Andy, a random kid from New Jersey. This question is mainly for Sage. I want to be involved in some way with production for events in the community, whether it be local or nationally. However, I want to be able to make a steady income when I'm older with a normal job. I'm 14 now, and I know that, wow, also, by the way, 14 and you're writing this way, you're already winning. So he says, and I know that one, the last thing we need now is more event and broadcasters. Wow, okay. Wow, Andy. Number 2, I only have a very vague understanding of how things work with production. And number 3, being able to live off of broadcasting Smash events is unrealistic and unreliable most likely, and taking chances isn't something I'm looking to do. I really wish I spoke like this when I was 14. Sorry.
Were you an XDer?
Yeah, I was trash. I was on Funny Junk and Albino Black Sheep. I was on Newgrounds.
God.
I was trash. I was the product of my generation. But anyways, this is about Andy. So the closest thing I have to experience in production is working in production for my school's theater company and my very vague understanding of how to use a soundboard. Andy, you're already ahead of most of the Smash scene. My main question, there's people in the Smash scene that plug mono into stereo, whatever. If you know what that means, you know that's a sin. But anyways, my main question is, after all this intro, is where can I learn about how to do these things half decently while still having a regular job? It's not something I think I can major in when I'm in college because I want to be a teacher as of now. Hey, teachers. But Smash and eSports is a hobby of mine and something I'm passionate about and want to contribute in helping. Please help. Thank you and keep up the good work. So
Okay. So, good question. I like it. But just like baseline, getting involved with any local streamer that you have can give you just a good intro to the most basic of basics for like setting stuff up, right? Like he's probably gonna have 2 webcams for players and commentators, like a Blue Yeti or a Blue Snowball, and then like a laptop and a capture card. Probably no Gato. 100%. I just named like 90% of the streams.
That is like you literally just read half the entire scene.
Yeah, like sorry y'all. Like I know your setup. I started there too, so it's fine. But the best way to learn, in my mind, is if you're trying to get like into really intense production stuff, like because you can take that stuff home, fiddle with it, color correct the cameras, and just like mix some audio and be like, yeah, you can have a pretty decent stream right off the bat. But the big thing is like you're not learning how switchers work, you're not learning routers, you're not working like cameras where you're adjusting their f-stop and the iris and all these different things.
I do not even know what you're talking about.
Right, I'm just making up words. 100%.
Flux capacitor, yeah, I got
it. So I think the best way to learn about that, there are a couple of really good websites for articles and all these different like information pieces about how stuff is shot, equipment reviews, all this different stuff. And that honestly was a good way that taught me like a lot of things about just like the way to look at editing, the way to kind of approach editing, all these different equipment ideas. So one of my favorite sites to go on and read, and I like follow them religiously. Whenever they put out a new article, I'm always reading it, is premiumbeat.com.
Premium beat? That
yeah.
sounds careful what you Google. Make sure you get that spelling.
So great website. They had a really interesting thing, and they do it every year, where they go over how every major motion picture was shot in the past year, like what cameras.
Whoa, that must be like the most audiophile porn / production porn ever.
Oh, it's so cool. And they had this thing where I think it was Baby Driver actually, where it was actually edited on site, and they went over how these files were being shot and then shuttled to the editing computer that was on set, like live, and it was like, this is crazy. They did a recap video of how they shot one of the songs from La La Land, where you can see.
I love that movie. Sorry, go on.
It was so good. But
that highway scene was amazing. Did they go over that?
No, it's the scene when the 4 girls are dancing in like their apartment.
Oh yeah,
So there's a camera guy.
That was a crazy scene when I think about it. Like I don't know how they shot it in that apartment. There's so many movie things that are taken for granted.
I'll link it to you because it's really cool. So you see this camera and you see it back away, and you can see like the jib shot that's coming in, and you can see this whole production crew like running with them as they walk out the street, and it's like, this is insane. So they do all this really cool stuff. They do it for editing, they do it for audio, they do it for video, they do camera reviews and all that stuff. So that's a really good way just to learn some basic stuff and like have ideas. And then as they talk about certain things, Google it, and like you find YouTube videos for how to use it. Almost every single production company, editing software, color correcting software, hardware piece, camera, whatever, has 1, a review, and probably 2, a video from the people who made it on how to operate it. So even if you don't own the equipment, you can kind of get an idea of how things work.
Yeah, and that is so much that's just on you, and just learning and seeing what works out for you, like in terms of, maybe what sort of team you want to go on. And honestly, listen, Andy, like every team needs help. So if you can just volunteer during tournament and be like, hey, like I see you all are, kind of pressed for time backstage. You need any help? Hopefully you talk to them before the tournament so that you can get integrated and get like, the sort of talk at the beginning so that the game plan. But volunteer your time. Like stream teams would love to see new faces and someone who actually has tech experience. So
yeah,
definitely
local
try
teams
that
for sure.
Yeah.
For if you're at a major too, I mean, I've never really had anybody ask besides like one person, but I did like people have messaged me and like asked about like various equipment stuff, and I usually answer. And then I've had one person ask if they could have like a quick rundown like at a tournament of like behind the scenes and stuff. I don't think they ended up going because I had agreed to it initially and then I never heard back. but like I wouldn't mind like giving people like a behind the scenes tour of just what's going on. Not necessarily like breaking down how we do all this stuff, but just like here are the different stations, here's my tech director, here's our audio engineer, here's like our stage manager type stuff. So yeah, just ask.
Yeah.
Never be afraid to ask.
Yeah, definitely. So that's your answer, Andy. Hopefully you go far. Hopefully you're the next stage one day. You have a lot. You are literally like, I'm so impressed by how you asked and also what you asked at 14. Seriously, you're ahead of the game already. So keep on keeping on. Can you ask me the next question by Brandon James Bond 007, which by the way, this tag is so funny. What?
That's amazing. Okay, anyways, from July 15th, so or June 15th, not July. June 15th, so more recent question.
We're screwing up.
We are. It's bad. It's late. It's not really. Anyways, we have from Brendan James Bond 007. He writes, "Hey guys, I have a question that is directed more towards Suar being the head of the PGR and PG Stats. I am in two different communities that operate quite differently in terms of power rankings. The first scene looks at a set counts and placings and simply discusses in a group of 5 people to determine who are the top 10. This is admittedly very flawed, but works. The second scene is new, so they haven't done anything. We are trying to make a point-based system similar to the PGR, but it is not as easy as to make something like that. Ultimately, I can't think of a better solution, so I'm here to ask. What is the best way, in your opinion, to make a power ranking for a local scene?"
So I've been getting a lot of questions personally through DMs about like, hey, so I sat down with a couple people and we tried to make a point system and it's really hard. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it is. I definitely respect the initiative by anybody trying to do it. I think it's great to have rankings on any scale. But when it's locals, it's a little different. So to answer your question, the first one of looking set counts and placements and discussing it in a group of 5, that's the panel way. That is historically how many regions power rank their players. They take all the results, they get essentially their community leaders and talk about who should be where and agree on it as a panel. And then there's the other way of like doing true skill or like doing points or doing this and doing that. One thing is that the panel way is the most common because it involves the least amount of math, right? It's just, hey, you know, this person got first here at this monthly and this person got third. Yeah, they should, they really came into themselves. They should be 4th or 5th. And it's worked. The other way that you're talking about points and how you said it was immediately hard is because you have to start involving higher level math to actually get what you want. The PGR is like essentially like the highest level math that there is in Smash. Like Practical Task is made of matrices, a series of matrices, where it takes like everybody's like perceived win score and calculates it and matches this with that. It's all on algorithms, like literally like so much data. You're not going to do that for a local scene. You don't need to. I think that the panel and, you know, taking in results and set counts is all that's needed for a local PR, because I'll be honest with you, local PRs I don't want to say they don't matter, but they're local PRs. So
they are something to strive for.
There's something to strive for, and they're important for the local scene to have goals. Nationally, they're all pretty much on the same level because everybody has a different way of doing them, so they don't really carry that much weight. It helps in seeding to say, hey, this guy's 5th in Nebraska. Cool. But again, like if your scene's not known, then it's kind of hard to establish like anything other than like, okay, you're better than like the worst people. But definitely the panel way is good. Make sure your panel's balanced. Make sure you try to involve as many people as possible. You can even involve your community by doing their own little X factor. And that way everybody feels involved instead of like, oh, these 5 jerks keep deciding what is what. So
one
definitely
thing
try that.
I can just like give some insight into the Chicago scene because I was on the panel.
You were?
I was actually. I was on like the first, like, dude, this is like 2015, I think I was on the panel. Maybe 2016 too. But I eventually opted out of the panel instead to produce the PR show that we started to do.
I remember seeing that.
PR show was cool and I wanted to do more of them. But the panel kept like getting me information late. And then it was like people were asking for the PR and it was like 2 weeks past the end of the season. And it took me minimum like 5 days of like all-nighter work to prep all the graphic assets and stuff because I did animations and custom intros and stuff.
Sage, that all went to waste.
I know. We did all this stuff for for all these different players, like per player got their own song, got their own like animation, highlight reels and stuff like that. And it was crazy. It was like these whole like 2-hour spectacle that we did live. And it was really cool. It was really fun to do. But again, it's hard because panels sometimes just take forever to meet and give you the information. But reeling my point back here, the way we did it was we had a very simple math system that would we would input all these like brackets and input all these players' placements, and then it would calculate and flip it into a spreadsheet of like the entire scene if you qualified. Our qualification was like 4 events and 1 monthly to be qualified to enter to be on the PR, just like to be considered active. So it would send everyone into this giant spreadsheet and it would organize it by your rating. And then from there, the panel that we had, which is usually 7 people, would then discuss and make any changes, not be totally final to the math. So the math was like a really good way to kind of get an idea for where people placed out on, but it wasn't a be all end all in Chicago. It was like it always eventually came down to a vote for like some stuff.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, like math is great. Math wants to be objective. Math. Point to the numbers don't lie. But regional scenes don't have the consistency or the set, like what's it called, the data set, like count size, right? What's the word? Jesus. They don't have the sample size necessary to have good math work. Okay, you have to have a PR come out regularly for it to matter. A lot of scenes get caught up in the minutia of trying to decide this and that, and when you have a PR come out months after like it's supposedly assessing a scene or like a time period, like if you have your winter PR come out in June, like that doesn't matter anymore. Like it's cool you made a graphic, but like PRs need to be consistent, and the best way to do that honestly is with a panel. There isn't enough tournaments, there aren't enough interactions to do the math and have it come out looking good. Like it's gonna look stupid. Like if your top player, like are you gonna tell me like Nairo and Tri-State, you know, because he doesn't go to any tournaments and then maybe he goes to one and maybe he like plays all like, I don't know, Lucario and he gets like 4th. You're going to tell me that he's not first in Tri-State? You're going to really tell me that he doesn't like, you know, he's not Nairo, right? So there's things and a panel can help assess that. Okay. Like maybe we make Nairo 0, or maybe we, you know, Komuro Kiri's living like in Japan, but he's here so much and he's been in so many MSMs. Let's rank him. You know, panels do that. Math straight does not. So definitely make use of that.
I think if you have a math system kind of like half made up or like mostly made up, I would say use it and then still have the panel thing.
Have the panel interpret whatever math system you try to make.
Right. I think it's good I think it's a really, really good reference point because it can clear up some stuff of like, I thought these two players were closer, but look, they're like 5 points apart from each other. That's crazy because we were just arguing if they're like who's going to be 8th or 9th, and this
Definitely.
is obvious. So like math is really good in that scenario, but it can also be like, these 3 players are like a point apart, but like this player had a really easy bracket a few times and this player didn't, and it was
this player went out of state and won, you know, CEO whatever, right? So definitely Brandon James Bond 007. I think the top 10 or whatever you do. Also, PRs need to stop doing top 20. Unless you're a region that is competitive at the national level, you do not need 20 people. Do 5 HMs and a top 10, honestly.
Chicago did 15.
Yeah, even then.
For our fast few.
Yeah, it's
essentially the 5 HMs.
Yeah, just be real. There's nothing separating 16 from 17 to 18 to 19 to 20, so just do 10.
There was a period where we did 25 and it was awful.
Cancer. Like, it just gets to the point where, like, okay, now, like, you have so many people in the PGR, like, the PGR doesn't matter. Or, PR. PR doesn't matter.
What is cool is Chicago, which all this credit for the math can go to Xylus and Blind. Blind wrote the formula, and then Xylus does all the tabling for it and, like, puts it out into a spreadsheet, which he eventually makes public, which is really cool because you can see literally everyone's ranking outside of the top 25, because, like, that, or the top 15, because that obviously goes through the panel. But you can literally see 16 through, like, whatever it is, 200. And you can be like, oh man, I moved up like 40 spots this season or something crazy. So like, but we make it very apparent. It's like, look guys, this math is super flawed. That's why we have a panel. Just like it's just for reference and just for fun.
Yeah, and a lot of scenes, like I said, they use true skill, they do whatever. And
ELO rankings.
Yeah,
or something.
ELO, like it's all not gonna work for our scene. We're double elimination, like there's like a bracket run situation you got to take into account. So always, in my opinion, stick with the panel, use the math second. So
panel should always be your final
Yeah.
for local scenes in my mind.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll wrap it up.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. Last week was stellar with over 3,000 listens just last week. In the past 7 days, we've actually hit 35,000 or 3,500.
Shut the fuck.
35,000. We have more listens than most streams ever will hit.
Oh no.
3,500 listens in the past 7 days, which is really cool. Lots of growth. Just in the past 24 hours, we've had over 100 listens. So keep on keeping on.
That's kind of weird. Like,
yeah,
that's a lot of people listening. Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Top player reach. So,
I know, but
so
I
much.
wonder how they're listening and who. But thank you, and like definitely spread it however you can. We really appreciate it, and we see it anytime it happens.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you again, and of course, you guys can find us on all the major podcast sites. You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, Google Play. Wonderful.
Wait, is wonderful a platform, or is that how you end a sentence?
That's how I end all my sentences now. Wonderful. That is my period.
You're like
punctuation.
Mr. Rogers or something.
Next episode, guys.
Wonderful.
It's a wonderful life. Wonderful.
All right, so this has been Panda Global Suar.
Wait, we need to tell them where they can find us. You guys can find us for the runback. If you have any questions, of course, we still have a huge bank. I actually want to look real quick. What is the we have questions from April that we have not answered, but we will get there.
We have question before Common Era.
We will get there. But if you have any more questions for us, guys, you can find us on Twitter at @thesetcount, or you can email us thesetcount@gmail.com. Both work. If you're using Twitter, DM us.
Yeah. All right. So this has been Panda Global Suar.
And Unrivaled / eSports Arena Sage.
And we'll see you next time.